Hi, everybody. I'm Laurencia Gross, and you are watching After the Storm. We're sitting here with the one and only Marco Pavé, North Memphis' finest. I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So there's so many layers to you. We're going to get into all of them, from writing insightful essays to having your music featured on Netflix to award nominations. But first, I want to start by, how did you begin your journey in music, and what made you decide to pursue it professionally?
I kind of got started in elementary school. I went to Valentine Elementary, like you said, in North Memphis on Valentine. And I was kind of inspired by like the kids that was like right 2 years above me. Like I was in the cafeteria, they just had a whole kind of crowd surrounded by them every day, beating on the tables with the pens and pencils, scraping and doing all this stuff. And it was like, I want to do that. So I was like eight years old when I really decided that I wanted to be a rapper, and kept going. You know, by middle school, I was, cause like people always think like I'm not that old school, but I am. I was like rapping on tapes, cassette tapes, cause we just really didn't have all the kind of resources like that. So yeah, I would be recording and making these cassette tapes and burning them and giving them to my friends all throughout middle school, and continued on through high school. And I felt the bug, and I felt that I was making change in people's lives. So it's just something that I wanted to stick with.
For sure. And how did you come up with your name, Marco Pavé? Can you give us the background on that?
Yeah, Pavé is a diamond setting, and it basically just means paved road in French. I took French in high school. That was like one of my language class that I used to take. Shout out to Miss Ragland. She lives in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia now. But yeah, like Pavé is a diamond setting, and I used to have the most ridiculous rap name. Well, I started with, it was Young Kano. Okay. And then I added the Marco Pavé, so it was Kano Marco Pavé. Cause I used to wear like a ton of diamonds and chains. You could look at my senior head picture. I got like 3 gold chains on, like the Mario, Luigi, the medallions or whatever. So yeah, Pavé is just a diamond setting, but for me, it's like just make the road as you go, kind of deal. So you pave your road as you go.
So, and in terms of the type of music that you make, in your Instagram bio, you say that you're a storyteller. So what do you think is the most personal song that you've written, and what does it mean to you?
Ooh. Personal song that I've written. It's from my 2014 mixtape, Obscure Reality. It's a remake of Drake's Pound Cake, but I call it Made It to Earth Twice, and it's about my son. He was like 2 or 3 months old at the time, and so yeah, I wrote that, and yeah, the hook is kind of like, yeah, I made it to Earth twice, like seeing his face, I could see my face in him, knowing that I came here twice. So it's like, it really changed my life to motivate me to really pursue going really, really hard with my music, but it also like reflect on the relationship with his mother, and we kind of fizzled out and you know didn't really work out. So it was very emotional in that regard, but it's like me becoming a father on that song.
Has your son listened to that song before?
I don't think he's heard that song before. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play that track.
So outside of your genre and your sound, are there any like artists that aren't in hip hop that kind of influence you and like you're inspired by them, like in another genre?
Oh yeah, plenty. Coldplay would be one for sure. Kings of Leon, that kind of vibe. Also jazz music a lot. You know, when I'm like really trying to get out of rap and listen to different stuff, is, you know, John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, you know, Nina Simone, those kind of things, to really just listen to the like storytelling. I like 80s music a lot too. It's just super vibey and groovy kind of deal. Like, yeah.
Okay, cool. And just going back to hip hop, you kind of touched on it when you did a TED Talk in like 2015. You say hip hop saved your life. Can you kind of explain that to us, or why you feel that sentiment?
Yeah, I mean, it's a platform of giving a voice to the voiceless. So we're not voiceless anymore. Like we can really say and speak about things that are going on in our communities. You know, I always thought about, for me as a rapper, I'm a sociologist in a way. Like I describe the conditions that are going on in our community. If I'm doing my job correctly, if I'm observing correctly, I can see like, okay, this is going on, and my role is to not perpetrate the things or glorify certain things, but just to shine light on them and to showcase what's happening in the community. So me being able to do that really, you know, saved my life, because I, you know, in my neighborhood, I'm talking like this gonna get dark, but at least 3 or 4 young men that grew up on the same street or 2 streets over from me are all dead, like from suicide. Like three or 4 of my friends that I grew up with, you know, lost another friend that I grew up with to, you know, he's locked up 55 years in jail. So it's like rap was the thing that was steady and stable for me, while all this other tumultuous kind of stuff was happening around me. So it gave me a whole lot of purpose to not get caught up and not get trapped into the traps that they want us to be. So yeah.
Definitely was your saving grace, for sure. And with the genre and with you doing music, you have garnered a lot of accolades. So I know that you were nominated for a Grammy. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was really amazing. Was nominated in the contemporary classical composition category. So that's, you know, I think I'm the first rapper to ever do that. But I wrote the libretto for Requiem for the Enslaved. And that project is to honor the lives of the Georgetown 272, which is 272, one of the cells that Georgetown University made to keep their doors open in 1838. They sold 232 people to Louisiana. So this project was to honor their lives and celebrate them, and kind of honor the lives of all enslaved people, because we come from enslaved people. My folks is from Mississippi, Greenwood, Mississippi. So if we go back, 3 or 4 generations, it's gonna link directly to slavery. So that's what that album was to do, to honor us and honor the lives of our ancestors.
Yeah, and I saw you and your wife were like physically at the awards ceremony when it happened. What was it like to like be in that room surrounded by all those people?
Yeah, it was super cool. I for one, I thought I wasn't gonna go, and then I was like, what am I talking about? Like, let's get it together. But they trick you, the Grammys is kind of funny, you get nominated, but you still gotta like pay for their ticket. You gotta still, what I'm saying? So, it was a good chunk of change to get out there, but of course it's worth it, kind of deal. But it was amazing. Like, you see the celebrities and different things like that. But like when you all in the same kind of space like that, it's just kind of like, they know you supposed to be here and you're supposed to be there. So it's just, I'm never on some starstruck kind of stuff. Yeah. I just, keep it professional and keep it pushing kind of deal.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
And also another accomplishment of yours was that one of your songs was featured in a Netflix film. Mm-hmm. So that's major. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was super cool. Uncorked, they shot it in Memphis on location. So that was like the first film that was filming here in a while. Or that I knew about, and I really just like took my shot. Shoot your shot, people. I just DM Prentice Penny, like basically like, you shooting a movie in my city, like what's the word? I can, I'm your guy, yeah. So yeah, that's how it went. He got the DM and referred me to his music supervisor, but he basically had said though, I've been hearing your name multiple times since I've been here. So, I gotta put you on kind of deal. So
you really do never know, like, who's listening to you, who's watching you, and like your name can get brought up in rooms that you have no idea.
Absolutely.
And I really get the vibe from you that you're very humble. So how is it, like, how do you balance like that humility, but also being like, I can really pop it if I want to? Like, how does that go? How do you keep yourself down to earth like that?
That's an amazing question, and it's about the art. Once you put the art is the art. Like, I'm a vessel, and that's not a negative thing. It's just the reality. These songs, I don't own them. The music is just for the people, and knowing that, I can stay humble in that. But also, I've done a lot of self-reflection and just self-healing, so I cannot like be focused on like trying to utilize my music as an ego-driven thing to be better than other people. To, you know, it's a lot of pain in the world. So when you remember that, it's like, man, I'm lucky to be able to do this music thing full time. I ain't worked a job in nearly over a decade. I've been doing this fully as my career. So that's a blessing in and of itself. So it's like it could be taken away. So staying humble from I know that I'm blessed perspective, but from I really do this shit perspective, I know that, and I just put that into the music.
For sure. I also want to pivot to like family, because I stalked their Instagram and see that you're very big on that.
Yeah.
You know, you're married, you have a son, and I saw that you wrote an essay about your mother. So I wanted to know, why is it so important for you to include family in your art?
I mean, family is everything. And that could be a negative thing. I'm grappling with that, with all the essays and all the music that I try to do. I come from a very, abusive household, raised by my dad. My dad drove my mom insane, and he raised all of us by himself, but he raised us in a household that was filled with abuse and struggle. And so family is important, but then, you get stuck in the idea that family is the only thing that you have. But for me, I have to be honest about the family that I was born into. And sometimes the family that you choose may be the better family for you. But to be able to just showcase where we've come from and how we've grown as a people, like that's why I keep family in my circle and in my art, because it keeps the things grounded. It keeps everything, weighted down by something that's just real and not all the other stuff that's out there.
And I often see you say, on my ancestors' wildest dreams. I read that you actually got some property back that was your mom's, that was almost taken away. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was a eminent domain case that they tried to pull on my mom. The land in question is the land. So after my mom divorced my dad, she kind of like roamed the streets for a while. She was homeless. But by 2001, she landed at this property, and she moved in with my stepfather, and they stayed together from 2001 to like 2018. And she moved out and got a new place in 2018, but the house was kind of falling into disrepair. The house got torn down, and it kind of basically sat vacant. But this organization had been like sending her all these threatening messages and letters like, you better sell this lot or we're going to take it from you, or we're going to take you to court. And she just kind of ignored them. And I remembered about the property, so I just asked one day. I don't even know what made me ask, but I was like, Mommy, I still got that property. And she was like, yeah, like I've been getting these tax bills. I just throw them away. And I was like, Ma, please just let me take it off your hands. And so, yeah, she gave it to me, and I put it into my name. And I, not knowing, I reached out to a bunch of stakeholders in the community. One of these organizations being the organization that tried to take the property. I reached out, and they like, we've been trying to acquire that property. If you don't sell it, we're gonna take you to court for eminent domain. But yeah, like we beat them. We literally beat an eminent domain case, which is like unheard of. Wow. We had hundreds of people sign a petition to stop the CRA from trying to take the property. So, yeah.
That is a crazy story. I'm
Yeah.
really glad that y'all were able to get it back. And just speaking of land and property and all that, you actually moved to DC. Are you still staying there, or are you based in Memphis?
It's back and forth. Yeah, we've been back and forth since 2019. Still got my house here. Home and family keep me wedded here. My son still lives here. My mom's here. So Memphis is home always, but also DC is another land that I'm exploring, and that has really helped me open my eyes and open my wings in more ways.
Okay, yeah, because there's always this debate. There's even one that was going on social media not too long ago, just about like being Black and living in the North and living in the South. So what do you think are like the differences, like the major differences between living up there and down here as a Black musician, but also just like as a Black person in general?
It can be rough at times. DC is a place where all the gentrification has already happened. Like, it used to be Chocolate City, and now you walk around, it's white city. Like it's literally just white people everywhere. And you know, like the Adams Morgans and the U Streets and all of these stuff used to be black areas, like all black people. And now you see, white ladies running around jogging in former trap houses and, stuff like this. So it's difficult to see like black people lose so much space, so much real estate. And yeah, then it's, Memphis is in the South is just more friendly, always more friendly. Like I could still, I've been in DC since 2019. I could say I ain't never been invited to nobody's house. Like I've never been invited to anybody's house. Maybe one person. But in Memphis, we do that all the time. Like this, it's just, housewarming. We just doing stuff. So yeah, that's a big difference. It's more friendly in the South.
What about like the musical sound up there? What's that like?
DC is go-go. A lot of, but also all these places trying to copy Memphis. A lot. Exactly a whole lot of swag stealing from there. Like everybody trying to rap on the heavy 808 beats, like, but not realizing that comes from Memphis for sure. So I'd be having to remind folks all the time, like you trying to rap like how we rap. Kind of deal. So it's definitely a lot of copycat energy, but DC has its own sound for sure with go-go and those kind of elements.
Okay. And I said I stalked your Instagram, so I've learned a lot about you from like having low haircut, designs, printing out physical copies of your CDs, passing them out, working at Kroger, to even staring down the barrel of a gun and having it jammed. How have you evolved? I know that's probably going to be a long-winded question, but you've obviously changed. How has all of those things just shaped you into the person that's sitting here today?
Yeah, I'm still figuring out the answer to that. But honestly, yeah, like all of those things made me into the person that I am today. I just always wanted better for myself. On the 2014 project Obscure Reality, they asked me what is Marco Pavé and what's that name mean, and to me it's an idea of change. You can change your life. You can come from a negative situation and turn it into something positive, but you got to really like believe that, and you got to really take steps towards doing that. A lot of reading that I've done to really change my mindset, to grow from being, somebody that's just stuck in that mindset of whether it be homophobia or misogyny or all of these things. Like reading books is really going to expand your mind and help you really see like, oh, okay, we got way more in common than not. I need to be, these are my peers, these are my comrades, like we got to work together kind of deal. So really just, like I said, reading and therapy, 100%. Yeah. Therapy 100% is going to really shift things. Because for me, like I said, a lot of times I lost myself in the pursuit of the music on the ego-driven thing, and it's like you lose yourself too much, it could get rocky and get crazy. So I had to really understand that music is my blessing, is not something that I need to do to feel of my self-worth kind of deal. I got to be self-worth, have my own self-worth internally before I try to externalize it. Yeah.
Kind of backtracking a little bit, because I do know the story of like you like staring down the barrel of the gun. I did hear you talk about that, but can you just like explain that to people who might not have known that is something that you like?
Yeah. 10th grade, I was wild. I started at East High. I'm from North Memphis, so even just going to East was like a whole different neighborhood. So I'm surrounded by all type of other kids than me, a lot of gang stuff. But we was just like enamored with guns back then. So yeah, I had this gun. Me and my friend, we were playing with it, cocking it back and forth. It was a 380. I think it had like 8 bullets in it. And so we would cock it back and forth. Put it in each other's face, pull the trigger, and one time he was cocking it back, and he did it 8 times, but I heard 7. We had a hardwood floor, and I could hear the 7 bullets hit the floor, and I said I knew in my mind that the 8th one hadn't hit the ground, and before he put it in my face and pulled it, but it jammed, and when we looked in the chamber, the bullet was sitting right there. So yeah, that shifted. Yeah.
So my final question, in 2017, you dropped Hood OB. I know it's a song about like oppression and things like that, but in the hook you say, I wonder what they'll say once I die. So with that, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oof. I mean, hopefully I get another 40 years to figure it out, or at least 50, you know. But really just that I really love Black people. Like, that's the main thing. If you don't get nothing else from me, like, I love Black people. Like, that's it. Like, we are amazing, but we go through so much, and we have to be elevated and celebrated and honored. It's so much power that we have, ancestral power, ancestral knowledge. You know, we have changed the world, shifted the world, changed the whole world. So yeah, it's really everything that I do is to honor Black people and where I come from, who I come from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
For sure. Thank you. For sure. Absolutely.
I'm Laurencia Gross, and this has been After the Storm. See you next time.